Now that it's finally Women's History Month, what better way to celebrate it than to read women's history? Now, these books that I want to recommend, which is a ton of them, so this is probably going to have to be a multi-series, but this is a mix of historical fiction and nonfiction, and these books are either about true women in history, an event, whatever, but very important reads. So first, I'm going to start with historical fiction, and I got 10 to recommend. Let's go. We're going to start off very strong with one of my absolute favorite books, The Mercies. This is about the Norway witch trials. Fantastic read. Now this next book is about women and medical ethics. Everything, take my hand. This is about doctors using young impoverished women, especially in the Black community, to test birth control procedures on them without them even knowing it, and doing unnecessary procedures, medications, things like that. Very important history. This next book is actually based on a true woman, and it's also a murder mystery as well. Frozen River. This is about Martha Ballard, who was a true midwife, but this book kind of intertwines a true crime in it as well. So it's got a lot of truth in this book. Now this next book is also based off of true women, not just one, but women. The Invention of Wings. This is about the Grimsky sisters, who became very, very big abolitionists and were sent all across the US to speak against slavery. Now this next one, it is a very slow read, and it does not paint a pretty picture for a lot of our founding fathers. My Dear Hamilton. This is obviously told by his wife's perspective of being the wife of Alexander Hamilton, and what just his mind and things that he did and our founding fathers did. It's a very slow burn book, but I found it very, very interesting. Next, I would consider this one probably just a general history, but because this is told from women's perspective, I'm going to throw it in here. The Exiles. Now, this is about the British transports from Britain to Australia, but this follows a specific group of women. But this also is a two-part kind of story. This is also about the British coming in and kidnapping basically the indigenous people of Australia. So this is a two-part women's history. This next book is based off of a historical profession that is actually slowly dying out. The Island of Sea Women. This is about the women on Jeju Island who used to, well, still only very few of them do, would go out in the ocean to get all these different fish, crustaceans, things that they could eat or sell to make money, because this was during a time of like World War II and kind of prior, where the Japanese were heavily taxing the men working on these islands, trying to force them to work for the Japanese. And instead the women started working, and they actually proved to be better at this job than the men because they had higher body fat content, so they could handle cold water, so they would do this all year round. Very fascinating. This one probably hits a little home just because of what is going on in the Middle East right now. A Thousand Splendid Suns. This is about women's rights in Afghanistan, and basically over the last 50 years with the Taliban, everything like that. Very, very upsetting, but a fantastic read. Now this next book, it is a kind of a tragedy after tragedy after tragedy, but this is based off of a true woman from the Bible. The Red Tent. Now this is about Dinah, who is just barely mentioned in the book of Genesis, but this is her story of being a daughter of Rachel and her father marrying all the sisters and being a shepherd for his father-in-law. And one day he was over it. He was like, I'm taking all my wives and children. We're leaving here. And let's just say tragedy after tragedy happens. But it is an amazing story of endurance, love. I mean, incredible journey. I absolutely love this book. This is still probably one of my top 5 historical fiction books ever. And last but not least, a hidden gem that nobody really talks about, but it is difficult to say whether or not this woman was real or not. So she's kind of a myth or legend. Pope Joan. This is about a woman becoming the Pope and her journey of wanting to learn, because this was during the time, I mean, this took place in the 9th century. So this was during a time when a lot of people weren't educated in general, but she disguised herself as a boy, grew up in a monkhood, and eventually became Pope. I actually did a video of this on my YouTube channel of diving deeper into this story. Very fascinating. All right, those are going to be for part 1. Part 2 is probably going to be even more historical fiction.